welcome to Dose of Wonder. I'm Caitlin, your guide on this journey through mindfulness, mental health, grief, and personal growth. Each episode will dive into honest explorations and gentle reflections to help you find moments of calm, clarity, and a little bit of wonder too. So grab your favorite cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's get started. Today I want to talk about something that genuinely shifted how I think about motivation, confidence, creativity, and not quitting when things get hard. It started with a podcast I listened to on a run, which already feels fitting because this idea applies perfectly to endurance, both physical and emotional. The podcast is called Listen Loudly, hosted by Jocelyn Thompson-Ruhl, a Peloton fitness instructor, with Susie Chan, also a fellow Peloton fitness instructor, as the guest. And they introduced a concept called the Rule of Thirds that I had only ever heard of in photography. If you've ever taken a photography class, you might remember the Rule of Thirds as a composition trick. You divide the frame into 3 vertical and 3 horizontal sections, and instead of placing the subject dead center, you place it along one of those lines or intersections. The result is an image that feels more dynamic, more alive, because balance doesn't come from symmetry, it comes from contrast. And that's the part that stuck with me, because Jocelyn wasn't talking about photos, she was talking about life. The first way they applied it was to putting yourself out there. Anytime you create something, share an opinion, chase a goal publicly, or show up visibly, the response will almost always fall into 3 groups. 1/3 of people will love what you're doing. They get it. They cheer you on. They're your people. 1/3 will feel neutral. They'll scroll past. They're not offended. They're not inspired. They're just indifferent. And the final third will be negative. They'll criticize, nitpick, throw shade, or actively dislike what you're doing. Here's the brutal truth that most of us learn the hard way. We spend most of our emotional energy trying to win over the 2/3 that either don't care or don't like us. And that's a complete waste of time. 2/3 of people are never going to be your audience. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're doing something specific. As I've gotten older, this has become way easier to accept. If someone doesn't like what I create, it usually just means it's not for them, not that it's bad. And once you stop trying to convince the indifferent and arguing with the critics, something magical happens. You start creating with the people who already love what you do. You focus on that 1/3, and your energy finally goes somewhere useful. But the part that really got to me was how the Rule of Thirds applies internally, especially when you're working towards something that actually matters to you. Because external criticism is one thing, but internal discouragement is what usually makes people quit. And this framework explains why. Here's the idea. Any worthwhile pursuit, whether it's training for a race, changing your health, writing a book, building confidence, rebuilding your mental health, will never feel good all the time. Instead, the experience breaks down into thirds. 1/3 of the time it feels great. You're motivated, you're in flow, you feel strong, capable, proud of yourself. These are the days we think progress is supposed to look like. Another third of the time it feels fine. Not inspiring, not awful. You're showing up, doing the work, but there's no emotional payoff. And then there's the final third, the hard third. The days where it feels frustrating, heavy, discouraging, or just plain terrible. Here's the mistake that most people make. They assume that the difficult third means something has gone wrong, that they've lost motivation, chosen the wrong goal, or failed somehow. But according to this framework, that hard third is not a bug, it's a feature. The dangerous part isn't actually the hard third. It's the okay third, because the okay third is boring. There's no adrenaline, no breakthrough, no obvious reward, and people confuse boredom with lack of progress. But consistency lives in the okay third. Discipline lives here. Real commitment lives there. If you only show up when it feels good, you're not committed to the goal. You're committed to the feeling. And feelings are unreliable. The hard third, though uncomfortable, is easier to understand. It hurts, but at least you know you're struggling. And when you expect it, it stops feeling like failure. Once you accept that 1/3 of the process is supposed to feel bad, something shifts. You stop panicking when things get hard. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start saying, "Oh, I'm here now." Being in the hard third doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing it properly. Nothing worthwhile is linear. Progress looks like peaks, plateaus, and dips over and over again. And honestly, if it were all easy, it wouldn't change you. The hard third is what gives the achievement weight. It's what makes you remember it. It's what separates growth from distraction. Here's the part I find incredibly comforting. If you're in a really tough moment right now, statistically speaking, you're not going to feel this way forever. You are only scheduled to feel this way a portion of the time. A bad day doesn't mean you're sliding backward. It means a better day is mathematically inevitable. The cycle rotates. Knowing that can keep you going when motivation is gone, not because you feel inspired, but because you understand the structure of the experience. You stop demanding that things feel good in order to keep going. When you combine the external and internal rule of thirds, something powerful happens. You stop bleeding energy where it doesn't matter, and you learn to stay when things stop feeling good. You focus on the people who support you. You expect the grind, and you stop treating difficulty as a sign to quit. The goal was never to eliminate the hard third. The goal is to survive it without making it mean something about your worth, your ability, or your future. And maybe this raises a bigger question. If life is always going to cycle through great, okay, and difficult phases, is there ever really an end point? Or does growth just mean learning how to move through the cycle with a little more trust each time? That's just something to sit with. And that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for listening. Next week I'll be diving back into mental health and practical ways to support it. Until then, don't forget to live with a dose of wonder.
In the stillness we begin, with stories stitched in softer skin. A spark, a sigh, a breath, a bend, a dose of wonder, like a friend.